Welcome to Mornings with Ken Rosato. Today is Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. We will take your calls. 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. To kick things off, our friend with the nice beard, whom we like to call Michele in Italian. But watch this when I press the screen. Watch. Isn't that amazing?
It
I
worked.
practiced that all night, Mike, all night. And if not for Pam being at the controls, it wouldn't have happened.
That's a cool trick. You got to teach that one to me. Sometimes I click my buttons and it doesn't even move the maps here, but here we go. We start off this morning, and I just changed the batteries too. We've got plenty of warm weather on the way for the rest of this week, even though it is freezing right now up and down the East Coast. Look at these shades of purple. This is a freeze warning for the entire state of New Jersey, going all the way up into New England and right down the East Coast through the Mid-Atlantic, even down to the south. That light shade of blue into North Carolina, those are some frost advisories. That's how cold it was overnight. Well, now that the warmer weather takes over today, our attention turns out west, where a big wet weather system moves onshore from San Francisco north, even headed down the Pacific coast. That will allow for lots of rain to fall out west as the coasts are cooler than inland. So there's this big heat bubble across the middle of the country, allowing most of the country to remain dry in the plains, but it's where you find yourself along the coast where it's actually cooler than average, and that shade of blue takes over right down to the shoreline. That changes tomorrow as the weather turns milder and some of that warm weather shifts eastward over the coming days, but there's also some trouble down toward Florida for our friends watching us on our Florida channel. There's this high fire danger as the drought is pretty bad down across most of the panhandle and even down toward most of Florida, with these gusty winds and this wind off of the water thanks to the high pressure offshore, allowing for that higher than average fire danger to take over the next several days. But back here closer to home in New Jersey, we stay nice and dry today. There is some rain on the way for tonight. We'll tell you all about that coming up with your next weather update, Ken, in just a few minutes.
All right, very good, sir. Appreciate you. And we take a look at our traffic. We have a water main break right now at JFK. That's a bad thing. That's at the right outside the airport. So if you're headed to JFK, you're going to have a mess. It's going to be very difficult to get in. So please check out alternate means to get around because we don't even know exactly what is causing it. Apparently, it's by Cargo Service Road and 150th Avenue. So there's a closure there. So if you're headed to JFK, you need to find a way in or use the air train when you get down there because you can't, or the sky train, I should say, because you can't get down by car for a good chunk of the entrance. We have a crash on the Garden State Parkway northbound south of exit 136. That's Stiles Street in Clark. And we are told that the right lane is blocked there. So be careful for that. We also have problems now leading up to the Hudson River. The Lincoln Tunnel is going to cost you 30 minutes in. Holland Tunnel's 20 to 25 in the GWB upper and lower levels. We take a look as we see some congestion already building, upper level on the right, lower level on the left. Over to Los Angeles we go, and we have some issues right now in Newhall. We understand we have a traffic hazard. That's the only way it's being described on the 5 at Lake Hughes Road. There's a collision in West LA on the 10 at the 405, and then we have another crash that's in Central LA by the 5 and Los Feliz Boulevard off ramp. It is now 4 minutes past the hour, and Axios is reporting that the new Ayatollah of Iran, that is Mojtaba Khamenei, still unseen in public since assuming his position in February, has given the green light for negotiations to take place with the U.S. to end the war. The problem is, right now, there are multiple factions in Iran, at least two, possibly three, and they all are kind of aiming to be the faction in charge. So when one faction says, yes, we'll negotiate with the US, the other faction says, not on your life. And so this is the problem, seeing who's really in charge in Iran right now. And this is all happening as President Trump says it is unlikely there would be an extension of the ceasefire between the nations, which is due to end tomorrow. Vice President Vance is flying to Pakistan today for that new round of peace talks. For now, though, President Trump says he will continue to enforce the U.S. naval blockade on Iranian ports until a deal is reached. The U.S. boarded and seized an Iran-linked ship. It is called the Tushka. after blowing up its engine room. Marines rappelled from helicopters onto its deck as the Trump administration said that it expected peace talks with Iran to resume. Iran has vowed to retaliate for the seizure of that ship. What happens next to the vessel may depend on what it was carrying. It's been tracked traveling between Iran and China. If weapons are found on board, all bets, though, are off. Labor Secretary Lori Chavez de Remer is leaving the Trump administration. She is the third cabinet member to depart this year and the third woman as well. Her exit comes amid allegations of misconduct. President Trump announced that Deputy Labor Secretary Keith Sunderling would become acting head of the department days after the New York Times reported that there was a Labor Department investigation into her leadership. No actual details given, though. It is 6 minutes past, and the grandson of notorious Gambino crime boss John Gotti was sentenced to just over a year in federal prison after he admitted that he lied to illegally getting $1 million in COVID relief. But Carmine Agnello, who was featured with his mother and brothers on the reality TV show Growing Up Gotti, walked out of federal court on Long Island yesterday, and he said he was pleased with his sentence. At first, Agnello tried to avoid prison time altogether, telling the judge that his mother, Victoria Gotti, needed a kidney transplant and that he was the donor. Apparently, that is the truth. Prosecutors wanted 3 years, but the judge said that she took into consideration the family situation. Prosecutors said Agnello took $1.1 million in disaster relief funds for his business that was already closed at the time, money that he allegedly then used to invest in cryptocurrency. Democrat Congresswoman Ana Lilia Mejia was officially sworn in yesterday. She will represent the Garden State's 11th congressional district. Mejia, a former top aide to Progressive Independent Senator Bernie Sanders, defeated Republican Joe Hathaway in a special election last week to succeed Governor Mikey Sherrill in the House. Sherrill resigned from her seat in November to prepare for her first term as governor. Republican Speaker of the House Mike Johnson swore in the newest representative, who said it was, quote, a privilege and an honor to join the House. Virginia voters will head to the polls today. They will decide whether to approve redrawing the state's congressional districts. Currently, Democrats hold a 6-seat-to-5 advantage in Virginia's congressional delegation. The new map they want to draw could give them a 10-seat-to-1 advantage in a state that's actually purple. It's neck and neck between Democrats and Republicans. President Trump got 46% of the vote, but yet what the Democrats who now control the state want is to basically eliminate any Republican power by only having one possible congressperson who would be a Republican. Everybody else would be a Democrat. Sounds a little New Jersey-esque. The move to redraw by Virginia state Democrats follows similar efforts by Republicans in Texas. Though in Texas, you could say they had a valid plan. I'm not just saying that. It's because in Texas, they had an influx of over 4 million new residents. That's why they decided to take a survey and redistrict. Many on the right argue the move would totally disenfranchise Republicans in the Commonwealth. Recent polls show the vote today could go either way. Almost half the people, though, have early voted, so we'll see what happens. But today's the vote we should know tonight. It is coming up on 9 minutes past. After nearly 15 years as Apple's CEO, Tim Cook is stepping down. He will be replaced by Apple's Senior Vice President, John Ternus. Cook will join Apple's board of directors, though, as executive chairman. He's not going off on the sunset. He became the CEO back in 2011, taking over from Apple co-founder and the face of Apple, Steve Jobs, who passed away 2 months after stepping aside. During his 15-year tenure, the company debuted new products like the Apple Watch and launched services such as Apple Music and Apple TV Plus. In fact, during his tenure, I think there were 9 or 10 new iPhones that came about while he was the CEO. Amazing. It is 9 minutes past, and sandwich chain Jersey Mike's, must say my favorite sandwich in New Jersey, said yesterday it has filed for an IPO. What is an IPO? Well, that transforms the company from a privately held company to a public one. That means you and I could buy stocks on a stock exchange. Not sure which stock exchange they'll be on yet, but that gives you the opportunity to own a piece of the company. The markets, by the way, are hot right now. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ rallied to their third record close in a row on Friday, while the Dow marked its highest finish since late February. Jersey Mike's was founded down the shore in 1956 in Point Pleasant. So the term Jersey Mike's really does apply to them, the Cancro family. They operate more than 3,000 locations nationwide. A darn good sandwich. 10 minutes past the hour, Democrat Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who does not speak like that, said she is not a millionaire. She blamed a big accounting error after a financial congressional disclosure listed her assets at $30 million. A current amended filing now shows that Omar and her husband's assets are only $18,000. How do you make that kind of an accounting error? In fact, I think I wouldn't want you to be my representative because your math is that friggin' bad. So she originally reported, this is her, by the way, the Congresswoman herself is the one responsible for filling out and submitting that form. You can say, oh, maybe somebody else filled it out for and made a mistake. Yeah, but ultimately, just like when you submit your tax return, if your accountant made the mistake, it's still on you. That's you signing your name. And it's the equivalent to a tax return. The form that she submitted to Congress said that her net worth, her total worth, not net worth, her gross worth, was $30 million. Now she's saying, whoopsie, that was a mistake, big mistake. We don't know how that happened. It's only 18,000. So the question is, where was the mistake and when? The discrepancy had already drawn scrutiny from House Republicans who asked how she entered Congress in 2019. At the time, she listed her assets as zero, and a few years later, she was worth 30 million. They still want to know how that happened, and now they want to know how she went from 30 million to basically zero again. We'll see what happens. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions to be asked. And FBI Director Kash Patel has confirmed the FBI is investigating the 11 scientists who have either died or been reported missing, attracting much speculation. Officials have not confirmed a link among the recent cases, though the White House said last week that it would look into any possible connections. Some lawmakers called for a closer examination of the cases, which range from the disappearance of a retired Air Force general to the killing of a leading astrophysicist. Many of these people had nuclear secrets, so it really would behoove our nation to find out what happened. We're coming up on 13 minutes past the hour. When we return, tomorrow is Earth Day, the greenest states in America, and where New Jersey, California, and Florida stack up. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will return with your full forecast. When do we get a warm-up for spring? And we'll take calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato, now live on the East Coast and the West Coast, even live in Florida at onfla.com. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Don't go away. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Tuesday live in New Jersey and New York. Now we welcome Los Angeles. 15 minutes past the hour, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you. Hey, Mike. Good morning.
Good morning, Ken. We've got a great day ahead of us. Lots of sunshine. Yeah.
Wait.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm not letting you off the hook like that. I'm sorry. I need to show you something. This is the result. Let's see. Let's zoom in for you. That's the result
Oh.
of just a short amount
Mm.
of time in the cold. Those are
That
basil
looks a little
plants
sad.
that I grew
Yeah.
from seed.
Hmm.
I am very upset, and so are my basil
Yeah.
plants. I'm just saying, you hurt an Italian's basil plants in the spring, there's some conversating we got to do. There's some conversating.
But
I'm
this
sorry.
is this is why these freeze warnings go up, Ken, for this exact reason. Plants got to come inside when we have this one. I spent 20 minutes yesterday taking all of the seedlings, putting them in the garage and all the potted plants because, yeah, it's not worth going out and replacing everything, especially when you put so much time and care and love, right? There's love with those seedlings. Well, today the sunshine warming us back up into the 40s and 50s. It'll feel much milder by this afternoon. The clear sky doing a great job of helping us out. However, there are some showers on the way for tonight, and they arrive after some late afternoon clouds, say around 6, 7 p.m., close to this evening time frame. Then by 9 o'clock, the rain gets going, some of it briefly steady at times, lasting through tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning starts rather wet as that warm front moves in and gives us a day of pretty much cloudy gray conditions. Wednesday's not looking so great. Tomorrow will be wet all day. Then, as we warm things up on Thursday, we start off nice and dry with the sunshine and bring back loads of clear sky through the afternoon, and that will help us warm up nicely before a little shower gets us early Friday morning. And then we have the wet weather on tap for the weekend. So it's a pretty soggy forecast going forward after the dry, cool weather today. Hour by hour, we'll take you through the Northeast, showing most of those clouds exiting by Thursday. So we get, after today, one dry day this week because it's right back to the showers on Friday. Saturday is wet throughout the afternoon, and Sunday will likely have some clearing later on in the morning. So it might be a little cloudy early on in the morning, but we gradually see the clear sky take over by the afternoon. And as far as the temperature, it takes its time to warm things up. We are exiting, we see the cold exit there to the east, and then we eventually bring things back to milder temperatures by the time we get into next week time frame. So it'll be cool upcoming after a little bit of a milder day tomorrow, and especially on Thursday, where highs climbed into the upper 60s and low 70s. Then we just have this very unsettled pattern with system after system coming at us over the next several days. So that is what will likely keep the pollen a little bit lower as it's at the moderate level today going into the next few afternoons, with our weather remaining quite damp. Same for you out west. Downpours right now across the Pacific Northwest, and that's part of our rain that's coming at us for Saturday, Ken.
All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you. It is a chilly morning, as Mike was saying, 34 degrees in northern New Jersey. We have 31 degrees right now in Trenton. It is 32 degrees right now in Cape May and 30 degrees in Vineland. We take a look at some traffic. Check out the Garden State Parkway right now. There is a crash on the Garden State Parkway northbound. You can see the flashing lights and look at what it is causing. This is northbound exiting at exit, let's see, this is by 136 Stiles Street in Clark Township. And right now that's causing about a 2 mile delay. And we have one lane blocked right now. So that's by Style Street in Clark. And again, the right lane is blocked. Not far away, a little further south at 127, we have a crash that just happened at the Garden State northbound exiting by US 9, Route 440, Woodbridge Township, with a lane block there. Over to I 80, we have a crash westbound west at exit 58, Madison Ave and Patterson. Accidents happen there all the time. And I think part of it is in the morning, people are speeding. And then by once you get into the Patterson Metro, it starts to get heavy and people are not paying attention. They're looking at their phones. And then all of a sudden the sun is in their faces because notice this is eastbound. I'm sorry, this is westbound. So they may have the sun glare behind them. But nonetheless, that is where the accident is by Madison in Patterson. And we have problems at JFK. There's a water main break. So if you're approaching JFK, it may be hard to get in. You may want to stop and take the air train, the sky train that'll connect you into JFK from a few blocks away, because you're not going to be able to get too close due to the water main break. The both 30 minutes now. GWB upper and lower level pretty heavy. Take a look and you'll see the upper level on the right, lower on the left. It's going to cost you 40 minutes in. And right now, the LA traffic looking kind of bad. We have a fire reported, and this is in South LA at the 110 and Sepulveda Boulevard. We also have a traffic collision, and this is in West LA on the 10 at the 405, and a traffic collision again, and this is in Central LA at the 5 and Los Feliz Boulevard off ramp. So a lot of problems around the area, and we just want to make you aware that this is not going to be getting any easier anytime soon, because usually on a sun glary morning, this is what happens. So, Pam, I'm going to go to the NJHOF voting, which is coming up in 2 blocks. That's where we're going to pick up from. So voting for the New Jersey Hall of Fame, by the way, the class of 2026. And listen, I just want to let you know that, just because I've lived in New Jersey half my life and owned homes in New Jersey, and just because I've been the most watched TV news anchor in the United States for a morning show on any TV station ever in history, doesn't mean that you could nominate me. I'm just saying, but just want to put it out there for the Hall of Fame folks. But the Hall of Fame class of 2026 is now open to the public, so you get to have your input. The Hall introduced 60 nominees across 6 categories. Garden Staters can vote for 2 people for each category. The voting ends May 5th, which happens to be the day after my birthday. The final inductees announced in June, the 18th annual induction ceremony taking place in the fall at American Dream. Now, the way you cast your vote, go to votehalloffame.com. Vote Hall of Fame, that's all one word, votehalloffame.com, and you could cast your vote. Again, 2 per category of the 6 categories. Icons Michael B. Jordan and SZA are 2 notable names on the ballot in the performing arts and entertainment category. New Jersey comedian, famous, if you're of an age, my age or older, you'll know this person. If you're younger, you won't. Uncle Floyd Vivino, he was known as Uncle Floyd. He was on, I think, Channel 68. He used to do a comedy show every day. Kind of a goofy, old-fashioned comedy show, but when I was a kid, that was a big deal. Uncle Floyd Vivino died this past year. He's also on the list. Former Giants wide receiver, Super Bowl champ Victor Cruz, very nice man, very generous man. He's listed in the sports category, as is baseball player Don Newcomb. Jack Hughes of the New Jersey Devils, also on the ballot. Now, Jack is the guy that scored the game-winning goal in the U.S. gold medal Olympics hockey win over Canada. The Jonas Brothers and the Devils legend Martin Brodeur headlined last year's inductees. But you get to have your voice in this year's. So we'd love to see if who wins on that one. Keep your fingers crossed. Kane University hosted the Garden State Garden City Flag Football Classic this past weekend. It brought together teams from Pennsylvania, Connecticut, even Montana. Mike Black has the story.
The University of Montana's women's flag football team was in New Jersey to play against Kane University, a game months in the making.
So we started out on a Zoom call. Coach Raj and Katie reached out to us, and they said they would love to come to the East. Right? It's all about broadening your horizons. So when we started talking about it, I had no idea it would come to fruition this fast. So I'm thinking 2027, 2028.
This is where all the media is. This is where the hubbub is. The ECAC is the largest conference for flag football for women in the country, and why not be part of something that is, quickly gaining attention and notoriety and love from a financial and a community level.
Through this whole adding of women's flag football, we've just been really focused on and learning about how to grow the game. And so when, a team reached out from a different region, it was very exciting and new and fresh, and Montana was willing to come, and so it was a great partnership from the beginning.
This is a part of a nationwide effort to put women's flag football all over the map.
These are things that your grandchildren are going to talk about when they go back to the first photos of it, regardless of where it is from locale. Like, these will be the faces, whether it's University of Montana or Kane. Like, this is an amazing opportunity, and rarely do people get to make history.
For the athletes, it's a sign of the sport's growth.
To be able to expand and host our own tournament for a season and host from a team out of state too, it means so much.
Starting in high school, it was pretty small, and now it's grown to where, like, I'm here playing people from other states, so it's very cool.
It is very powerful and moving because it's weird knowing that I am someone who will be in the history books, and it feels great, but it also is a little daunting. Like, we are going to do good, and we have to do good.
It feels amazing. It is truly such an honor, and I'm so grateful to be on this team. I'm really happy that it's growing in colleges a lot more, especially because it's going to be on Olympic level now. It's just a big honor.
And for future players, it's inspirational.
I feel like it means a lot because they are basically like an idol to us. So like since we are like the younger generations, we look up to them a lot. So they're going to inspire us to be like them in the future and continue women's flag football.
When these girls who have no experience playing football, right, when they were younger, they didn't grow up with it. So the fact that they want to learn and watch and play the game, and even that means coming here on the weekends, right? Like, you gotta kind of have to capture that passion and kind of develop it further because they're eager to learn and they want to play.
We know that there's 69,000 high school young ladies now that have fallen in love with flag football, and we know that this is part of the future. So we want individuals to either watch on New Jersey and see these games being streamed and saying, hey, I want to go to Kane one day and I want to play flag football, or Kane is a cornerstone of what women's flag football is all about in its conception. And that's really what it's about, making sure that we serve as a space that young ladies can continue to follow their passion.
The Cougars beat the Grizzlies 34-14. The teams meet up again next year in Montana. For On New Jersey, I'm Mike Black.
All right, Mike, we appreciate that. And creativity and inclusion take center stage in South Jersey this weekend as the Tri-State Ability Art Show returns for the 6th year at the Yale, that is an acronym, Y-A-L-E, not the university, the Yale School Performing Arts Center. The annual showcase runs Friday night and Saturday and will feature hundreds of works created by students with disabilities from across New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, highlighting the talents of young artists with autism and other special needs. The show will also introduce a special collaboration with the Michael Palomini Foundation, honoring the late Brooklyn street artist Bast. And it's a whole new approach to neuro and spinal surgery. RWJ Barnabas Health's Cooperman Barnabas Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital in New Brunswick, and Rutgers Cancer Institute are adding extended reality to transform the way surgeons perform procedures. The technology brings 3D visualization into the OR and enhances their precision. Doctors would be able to see the body in real time in enhanced 3D to see exactly what they need to do before they do it. Coming up on 28 minutes past the hour. And when we come back, we have, in fact, a whole treat for you. And we're going to have Mike on, who's going to tell us when we're going to get a warm-up. We'll be back in 2 minutes. very good morning. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is now 30 minutes past the hour, and it's good to have you back. We are going to check in with our friend meteorologist Mike Favetta to find out not only why it's so chilly in the Northeast, but even in the Southwest. It's only in the low 50s in LA right now, Mike. And Mother Nature, see, I guess it's a fine line we walk. You want to say
Mm,
we're pissed off, but you don't want to tell Mother
okay,
Nature we're pissed off because I don't know if you're old
sure.
enough to remember the was it butter or margarine commercial when the old line was, "It's not nice to fool Mother Nature." And then, of course, lightning comes down and people die. So we don't want that. But we have to get the message across that we're a little tired of this.
We are a little tired of this, yeah. Going from the 90s last week to record cold overnight. And yes, like you had mentioned, there is some cold weather even moving in across Southern California right now. So both coasts dealing with this abnormal chill with the clear sky last night. We were setting up for a dry overnight, but it's all of that clear, calm, still air that allowed temperatures to dip down so quickly. So out to the West Coast we go, where there have been some showers overnight, especially across most of the northern part of the coast, and especially towards San Francisco and up there in Northern California. But it's this front that provides the cooling effect of some showers throughout today. So while it's cold right now across LA, it gets even chillier with that rain through this afternoon, right through the lunch hour into this evening. Those light showers with those cool Pacific breezes coming in even through the city. As far as the rest of the week, it starts to dry out as this high pressure begins to build in, and that will allow for some clearing out west and bring back some of that warmth that you'd expect down in LA. But again, the clouds come back for Friday and even into the weekend looks to be pretty gray as a lot of that snow works its way up in the mountains in the Sierra. So for the rest of the day, even though it's a little bit clear right now, there will be some showers moving in across the West Coast, keeping the West Coast rather cool, just like it is here in New Jersey with all of that chilly weather that remains through this afternoon. So it'll be dry today across New Jersey and most of the East Coast for that matter, but plan on some of that cool weather returning tonight with some showers as the wet weather takes over into tonight and tomorrow. The futurecast showing a lot of those rains beginning later on tonight, lasting through tomorrow morning. And then as we fast forward into Friday, another round of rain comes at us for the start of the weekend. Saturday stays cloudy, but Sunday starts to clear out. So I think we salvage, Ken, the second half of the weekend. And that's some great news because that should keep us dry into the first part of next week.
Aha. All right. Fingers crossed, sir. Thank you very much. We have 34 degrees northern New Jersey, 31 degrees in Trenton, and it's 52 degrees in Southern California. Pretty chilly there as well. We look at traffic in the region, and what we have is a crash right now on the Garden State Parkway. And this is exiting at exit 127 by Route 440 Woodbridge. The lane is blocked, and look at the delays being caused there. Just about 9 miles up, we had a further, or an earlier, I should say, accident at exit 136. All lanes are now open there. Pam, our director, said that the flashing lights are gone. I could see they just said all lanes are open, but there are some residual delays there as well. Over to Route 17, we have a disabled vehicle northbound south of Century Road in Paramus, right lane of 3 lanes closed. Turnpike, we have an outer roadway crash northbound north of interchange 13 in Elizabeth. The right shoulder is blocked there, and you could see the delays being caused on the turnpike. Never, never welcoming that. We go to the Hudson River crossings. Lincoln and Holland are both 30 minutes across. The GWB upper and lower levels a solid 40. Upper level on the right, lower level on the left. And you can see that on our video right there. There you go. Upper level right, lower level left. To California we go. We have a report of a fire, and this is in West Valley at the 101 and Vineland Avenue off ramp. There's another fire reported now in central LA at the 101 and Lakersham Boulevard. We have a traffic collision, and this is in West LA at the 10 where the 405 meets that, and another collision on the 5 at Los Feliz Boulevard off ramp. That's in central LA. There's an organization that's redefining how business leaders connect, collaborate, and celebrate success. Womeninbusiness.org has spent more than 25 years bringing together women leaders. And now, for the first time in New Jersey, they're hosting the 22nd Northeast Grand Business Salon at the Claridge Hotel in Atlantic City on Friday and Saturday, May 1st and 2nd. The organization's founder and president, Toby Nadler, is here to talk about it. We say good morning to you, Toby. All right, we're not hearing Toby. Let's see if we can get this to work. Let's check our might have a mute Try talking again, Toby. Yeah, we did have Toby's audio, right, Pam, a minute ago? Oh, all right. So I'll tell you what, let's come back to me. We'll test Toby's audio. We'll see if we can't get Toby on in a second. So just to tell you a little bit about the organization while we're working on Toby's audio, uh, there is something called a Grand Business Salon that's coming to New Jersey for the first time, and it's in Atlantic City. So this is something that Toby has been doing for 25 years. She started doing this at a time when women in business in New Jersey was very small. Now women comprise over 40%. In fact, in some aspects, it's like, I believe, 46 to 48% of all small businesses are owned by women. And that's a big deal. In fact, nationwide, Latinas are the largest segment of society, specifically Latinas, Latin women, are the largest segment of society owning small businesses. So that's a big deal. Now, that's a subset. Toby welcomes all women into the group, not just Latinas, but just something to point out that years ago, women were not represented in business, small or large, to the extent that they are today. And today, obviously, it's a very, very big deal. Still not breaking the glass ceiling, if you will, as CEOs. If you look at the numbers of CEOs, CFOs, et cetera, major corporations, women still only form a very small percentage there, considering how they're represented in other aspects of big business. You would think that would change. So we hope that that'll change in the near future, but we'll see what happens. We will talk to her being Toby, in a few moments as we are working on the technical issue. But tomorrow is Earth Day, for those who don't realize, and there's a new report from Wallet Hub ranking the greenest states in America, looking at everything from renewable energy use to environmental quality. Chip Lupo is a writer and analyst with Wallet Hub. We say good morning to you, Chris.
Good morning, Ken. How are you?
Good to have you on. So let's talk about the factors that went into the rankings. How did they determine where each state fell?
Well, what we did, Ken, is we compared 50 states across three key dimensions when it comes to environment, and those are environmental quality, eco-friendly behavior, and climate change contributions. And then we applied 28 relevant metrics ranging from air quality, commute times, just a wide range of factors, just to get an overall comprehensive look at the most greenest, or in a sense, environmentally friendly states, weighted them and ranked them 1 to 50, and the numbers came out very well this year for New Jersey.
Good deal. So, and by the way, we're also live in California and in Florida. So we have our three states. Just curious where they those states ranked as well.
Okay, we'll start with New Jersey. New Jersey came in at 15th overall. Very solid numbers across the board, particularly in what we call climate change contributions, 5th overall. California was third, as you might expect. Oddly enough, though, they were middle of the pack in environmental quality, but did very well in what we call eco-friendly behaviors and climate change contributions. And Florida, I think, is a little bit ways down, right in the middle of the pack, 26th. Not very good numbers in the eco-friendly behaviors rank.
You know, I'm a little surprised. I'm a half-time Florida resident, pardon me. And in the last 25 years, they have converted to an enormous amount of solar-powered energy generating plants. It's just that because of the huge energy demands year-round in the Sunshine State, they still need to have fossil fuel plants. So I think that may be, I don't know, I'm just guessing, that may be a contributor to that.
That's
But I
huge.
do know that,
Yes, that's
yeah.
a huge contributor between your year-round tourism and the influx of full-time residents that are coming in. Then a lot of them are coming in from states like New Jersey, in which environmental policies and eco-friendliness is a concern. So I think they're bringing a lot of that culture with them when they relocate to Florida.
Yeah, I know that that's been a big deal. I was a news anchor in Miami for years, and I know that even back in the 90s, back when you were three, back in the 90s, we had many of the power facilities, Florida Power and Light, FP&L, invested like billions of dollars into an infrastructure of solar panels, being that it's a sunshine state. Back then, it was still in earlier technology. Today, with modern solar technology, it's amazing how much can be generated. I know that because of hurricanes, they're reticent to put up a lot of windmills because of the damage that can be caused, and it's hard to manage those giant blades in 200-mile an hour, 150-mile-an-hour winds.
Correct.
But solar, certainly, it's called the Sunshine State for a reason. Take advantage of it, right? So, what were
Well,
some of the surprising findings that you may have had?
well, what I know, one thing I noticed at least, and what I always look for, Ken, is like geographic rankings or trends. Is there a particular region or group of states that fall in a particular category? And if you look at the bottom of the list, starting at 46, Mississippi, Kentucky, Alabama, Louisiana, West Virginia, these are, for the most part, they're low income states. A lot of them are still rely on, well, particularly West Virginia and Kentucky rely on coal. And there's a lot of resistance towards any type of environmental changes that could cause some harm to their industries and their livelihoods. So I think there's a lot of pushback in some of these states. So they're not as proactive when it comes to environmental policies as some of the other states at the top.
How is Wallet Hub ranking states that are using, and I put it in air quotes, cleaner fossil fuels such as natural gas and or in this case it's not fossil but nuclear, which I know a lot of states, because of the huge demand that many of the giant networks are now requiring, the memory storage facilities and the AI facilities are requiring huge amounts of energy. How are many of them impacting those numbers now because of nuclear?
Well, I think that's going to be something that's probably going to become more prevalent in the coming years once ANI really gets a footprint in a lot of these states. But that is a factor, and that falls under eco-friendly behaviors where we measure things such as share of renewable energy consumption per capita, and what we call smart electricity meters. All of that falls under eco-friendly behaviors. New Jersey is right there, well above average in that respect. But I think you're going to see those numbers taking upward or downward depending on the state once the push toward these data centers becomes more and more of an issue.
Gotcha. Chip, what's a website so we could read more about this?
It's log on to wallethub.com and check out our greenest states in 2026.
Chip Lupo, writer and analyst with Wallet Hub. Thanks for coming on.
My
And we're
pleasure,
coming
Ken.
back in
Make it a
two.
great day.
You bet, you too. We'll be back in two. Very good morning. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is 45 minutes past the hour. Chilly in the Northeast and in the Southwest. Meteorologist Mike Favetta. We got to ask you why that's the case, sir. And I use my improper English to do so because I'm a little miffed.
Is it the basil talking? It's the basil talking through you, I bet. Yeah.
You know what? I know I'm being juvenile here, but I literally took the little seeds out of my flowers, basil flowers, last year, and I dried them out. And I planted them on a damp paper towel, and I used a grow light when they were little seedlings like this. And I got them to be that tall, and I transplanted them right after Easter, and they were growing beautifully. I had a batch of basil Lisbech, and in one freaking early evening, they died. They died.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. The freeze warning that this is why you follow the weather, Ken. The freeze service is at 5 this evening.
AKA, I'll go back to the Acme and buy another pack of basil. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
That's it. You know, with the cold weather that was upon us last night, yeah, it was a time to kind of run around, make sure you didn't have any plants left outside because we had our hard freeze. Well, now with the warming trend over the next few days, here's our warm front providing a couple of showers later on tonight. It turns wet. So after a pretty dry day ahead of us, we're back to the wet weather for tomorrow. I think Thursday looks nice and dry beyond a few early morning clouds. And when that clear sky takes over throughout Thursday, highs respond, getting back into the 70s. But yet, there's more rain on the way for this weekend. First shot on Friday, next round on Saturday. And it's cooler than average right through the first few days of May, with this very chilly weather coming at us for the first few days of May. And that includes most of the Midwest and really most of the country, unless you find yourself down at the end of Florida, where it's warmer than average. Also, some wetter than average conditions as well, where it's needed most, down in the deep south, because that drought continues with a severe drought down across the southeast. All of that shade of red as the extreme to exceptional levels of drought there in the southeast corner of the United States. We'll tell you more about the New Jersey forecast coming up and how warm it gets by Thursday in the next few minutes.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. It is now 35 degrees northern New Jersey, 31 in Trenton. We got a lot of, literally in the last 10 minutes, we went from 2 accidents to like 20. So let me try to run through them as quickly as we can. We just got a report on I-78 of a crash eastbound west of exit 24 in Reddington. That's at Oldwick Road. Right shoulder is closed. We have several crashes now on the Garden State Parkway. Let's start a little further south. We have a crash on the GSP northbound south of exit 91BA, which is Chambers Bridge Road in Brick, left lane blocked. We have a crash also on the Garden State. This is by exit 127. Pam has this shot. This is 127 northbound entering at exit 127, Woodbridge Township with one lane blocked. And you could see, oh, that may have just opened up. It's the lanes going away from you. 5 minutes ago, that was bumper to bumper. That's good news then. All right. Yes. And they just updated it literally on my screen, Pam, as I speak. See that? So 5 seconds and we would have had it gone. New Jersey Turnpike now, we have a few issues. We have a crash on the inner roadway southbound north of interchange 12, Carteret Rawway in Linden with the left lane blocked, and a crash on the Turnpike outer roadway northbound north of interchange 13 by 278, the Goethals Bridge exit in Elizabeth. The right shoulder's blocked, and that's causing the delays you see on your screen there. The Lincoln Tunnel, now we have issues. We have a problem with a disabled bus at the Lincoln Tunnel eastbound. I'm sorry, the right lane is blocked. So let's look at the 495 approach to the Lincoln Tunnel, see how that's going, because that should be a little bit heavy right now. If we can say, yeah, there you go. So as a result, disabled bus in the middle of the right tube, and that's causing the delays you see on your screen right there. Holland Tunnel is 25 minutes. The Lincoln there that you saw is 40 as a result of that disabled bus. And the GWB upper and lower levels, upper level on the right, lower on the left, and you will see that is about a 45-minute crossover time into Manhattan. We quickly check Southern California, and we just have a few issues to tell you about. Number one, we have a traffic fire, so fire on the roadway in West Valley. It's at the 101 and Vineland Avenue off-ramp. Traffic collision now in West LA. That's at the 10 and the 405. Another collision at the 5 and Los Feliz Boulevard off-ramp in Central LA. It is 50 minutes past the hour right now. And we are going to talk with our guest from just a few minutes ago, whom we were trying to get on, Toby Nadler, who is the founder of womeninbusiness.org. Good morning. Can we hear you at least, Toby?
I hope so. Good morning to you.
Yes. Good morning. All right. We got a nice picture of you up there. We hear your voice. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the video and the voice to work, but that's modern technology. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So tell us about what inspired you to create womeninbusiness.org.
I was very interested in celebrating women role models and mentors. And in the mid 90s, I had done conferences celebrating women and in business, entrepreneurs, executives, professionals, and business owners. And when I came back from Rhode Island to New York, I was looking for a different type of paradigm, how to be interesting, combine business and pleasure with the point. And I decided the business salon model was the greatest way to go. And that's where I was inspired by fantastic women that I've met through the years.
And we have the Grand Business Salon coming to New Jersey for the first time. It's going to be in Atlantic City. Talk about how it's unique compared to some of the previous salons this year.
Well, this is unique. It's the first Grand Business Salon being held in New Jersey. And I'm looking forward to meeting more professionals and business owners and entrepreneurs and executives at the salon. It's different because we're going to be on Saturday, May 2nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're going to be on the celebrity theater stage, which is exciting. It's like a Broadway stage, and we have people coming in from all over Florida, Georgia, New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania to join our participants in New Jersey to be a part of this Grand Business Salon.
And let me ask how these gatherings are business and pleasure with a point. That intrigued me when I read that. Talk about that.
Well, we always have dessert at our Grand Business Salons. Some of the women think that that's the point, and I've got them at the word dessert. But that's an important part of our salon because it puts a smile on people's faces. We go badgeless and unafraid. And so people are connecting with you face to face. They're not predetermining who you are. And that's exciting. The pleasure point, well, we have different opportunities. In fact, we have something called wine painting, where we don't drink the wine, but the wine is in the paint. Also, on Friday night, we're known for our talk walks. And this year, which is brand new, we're having a talk walk. It's called the Full Flower Moon, which is very unusual for May. And we're going up to the rooftop of the Claridge, and hopefully the weather will cooperate and we'll see that full moon. So we're able to connect in a pleasurable way. It's exciting. There are different opportunities. We have special guests that are interesting, informative, that are taking their time. They're all keynoters, but there's no keynote address. So it's interactive and pleasurable at the same time.
Toby, are men allowed to be part of this too, or is this strictly for women?
Oh, we have men coming because they want to meet these exciting, outstanding women in business. And I'm not a dating service, otherwise I'd have to charge more money. But so yes, they come, they participate, and in fact, we have a humanitarian award this year, which is a first for us. And that is going to an exceptional male who's contributed to world peace. And we also have a commemorative honor to Sarah Spencer Washington. And that's exciting too, with a special guest who happens to be a man.
That is very nice. The website is womeninbusiness.org, womeninbusiness.org. The 22nd Northeast Grand Business Salon being held at the Claridge Hotel, Atlantic City, Friday, Saturday, May 1st and 2nd. Womeninbusiness.org's founder and president, Toby Nadler. It's great to have you on. May it be packed. I hope it's wonderful.
Thank you very much. We're almost sold out on Friday, but we still have tickets. That's a big theater. So we have tickets for May 2nd, Saturday. So please join us. All you have to do is go online, and it's very simple.
Awesome. Toby, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you. All right. It is
Thank you for
7:55
having
right
me.
now. You're watching, you bet, you're watching on New Jersey Mornings and Mornings with Ken Rosato if you're on the West Coast. Check this out, everybody. Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's pizza. Montville, New Jersey can now lay claim to launching the first autonomous pizza delivery drone in the Northeast. Anthony Pizzi, perfect name for somebody who's in charge of pizza stuff. His name is like pizza, only it's a Pizzi, P-I-Z-Z-I, of the New Jersey Pizza Alliance, organized what was called X Pizza Day yesterday at the iconic Columbia Inn in Montville, along with Dexa Drone Delivery Service. Check this out.
We have some of the best pizza in the country, and I feel that this is something that could make us very unique. We want to be the future of pizza. We want to be the Silicon Valley of pizza. And I believed by creating X Pizza Day, we can introduce this technology to the world and just have our shop owners here in New Jersey start to adopt it soon.
And that is our friend Anthony Pizzi. We had him on the show yesterday to promote the event. The event was packed, by the way, about 150 people. The drone flew 3 miles at a height of 400 feet before reaching its destination in just a couple of minutes. It was all about featuring futuristic technology, including a pizza bot that greeted people and served fresh pizza to the public, a machine that automatically assembled pizzas to order ready right to the oven. So it comes out of the machine, they just plop it in an oven for a minute and it's done. A delivery cart that navigates roads to bring hot pizza door to door, even a Tesla Cybertruck. The truck can be programmed to deliver pizza without a driver and can be used as a power source to operate a pizza oven so pizza makers can go and literally have a portable pizza kitchen. Columbia Inn partner Fabio Antonio Arbolez was the consummate host as automated pizza maker cubes, gelato making machines, and burger trucks surrounded the crowds. New Jersey truly is now the pizza capital of America. Writing a will is probably the last thing a person wants to do, but it's one of the most essential things that everyone should do. In Monmouth County, court employees have come up with an interesting way to encourage people to sit down and do the deed, so to say. It's called the I'm Just a Will initiative. They've created an activity book to make writing a will more approachable. They've also included a social media campaign that will feature weekly tips. And it was a horrific prom last Friday at Morris Animal Inn, where pups took center stage for a one-of-a-kind puppy prom with a purpose. The luxury pet resort transformed into a furry forest ball, complete with tiaras, tuxes, and plenty of tail wags. Dogs strutted their stuff in formal wear, posed for prom photos, and enjoyed music, spa treatments, and special dog-friendly treats throughout the day. But the event had a meaningful mission. Attendees were encouraged to donate prom dresses and accessories to support Project Self-Sufficiently, helping provide formal wear to humans, to young women in need, so they can experience their own prom night. 58 minutes past the hour for those watching on LACA on the West Coast. Stay tuned for your local news. If you're watching on New Jersey, we'll be right back live with New Jersey news, opinion, weather, and traffic. Thanks for watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. Good morning. It's 8:01, Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234. If you look outside, it's really sunny, maybe a few afternoon clouds. Highs, though, only making it to the low to mid 50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta joins us now with the Garden State forecast. And Mike, it really is nippy out there this morning.
Yeah, and yesterday was deceptive. You looked outside and went, "Oh, it looks beautiful. Blue sky, the flowers are blooming, green on the trees." And then you step outside and went, "Wait a minute. Is it really spring?" This is the cold that we've contended with overnight. So the freeze warning remains in place through the next 58 minutes, right through 9 a.m. So got to keep those outdoor plants inside until that time, and then you can finally bring them back out, where we'll be above the freezing mark. 28 degrees right now over in Sussex, 34 toward Toms River, some of the cooler spots. Long Branch has warmed up to 40, but it'll stay chilly throughout today, running about 5 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. So yes, in fact, this morning it is cooler than yesterday. A little bit of a northerly breeze clearing out the clouds, so we're dry and sunny today, but the highs will only warm into the 40s, and it'll feel quite chilly even through this afternoon. There's our high getting up into the 40s, maybe making it to 50 over by Toms River. And then some rain moves in later on this evening into tonight for a wet overnight. A damp start to the day tomorrow. Tomorrow evening clears out, but it's pretty much cloudy for the rest of the afternoon on Wednesday. Thursday looks nice and dry with that warm southwesterly wind and temperatures warming into the 70s statewide, especially down toward the Philly suburbs, right by Camden, 75 degrees. So a lovely day ahead for Thursday. Friday, you see some more rain come in, and with that wet weather starting off a damp weekend, it stays wet all throughout Saturday. Look at those showers taking over by Saturday morning and remains wet throughout the day. But I think Sunday sees a little bit of clearing, especially later on in the morning. Sunday's looking a little bit brighter. As far as the rest of this week, plan on rain and clouds all day tomorrow, but Thursday is back to the sunshine and 70s, and then Friday sees some rain by the afternoon. We'll tell you more about that weekend forecast coming up, Ken, with your next weather update.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. 3 minutes past the hour right now. We do have some crashes to talk about. A lot of it is just sun glare. It usually happens when you have a bright, sunny morning like this, easterly sun, and that causes incidents. So right now, let's go to the New Jersey Turnpike. We have a crash on the Turnpike Outer Roadway northbound, just north of Interchange 13, which is by the Goethals Bridge exit, Elizabeth. The right shoulder blocked, and that's causing the massive delays you see right across the two bands. A lot of traffic there. We have another issue on the Turnpike, and this is a crash on the Turnpike Inner Roadway southbound north of Interchange 12 by Carteret Rawway in Linden. The left lane is blocked through there. We have problems with your Hudson River crossings right now, making your way to the Lincoln Tunnel. Pam, if you do have the Columbia Avenue cam, we could show that. If not, it's okay. This is, oh, thank you, Pam, is so quick. That is the approach to the 495, which takes you into the Lincoln Tunnel. That's about a mile before the mouth of the Lincoln right there, and you can see bumper-to-bumper traffic. So it's going to cost you 35 to 40 in via the Lincoln. It's 25 to 30 still as you're making your way on 139 from the Turnpike into the Holland Tunnel. GWB upper and lower levels heavy but moving. It's about 40 to 45 minutes in. Upper level on the right side of your screen, which we'll show you now, and the lower level is on the left. Either way is going to cost you 40 to 45 minutes in. It is 8:05 right now, and New Jersey's political landscape is ever evolving. Last week, Progressive Democrat Analilia Mejia secured a win in the state's 11th congressional district special election to replace the seat that was left empty when Mikey Sherrill was elected to be governor of the Garden State. She was sworn into office yesterday. To discuss what this means for New Jersey, the Democratic Party, and the nation is former New Jersey State Assemblyman Attorney John Wisniewski, a good friend of ours. We say good morning to you, John.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Cold. We got to get on Mike's case. A little too cold for
Yeah.
us, my friend. We need spring. Got to get spring.
Spring
So
was
now-
last week. We're back to winter.
Exactly. We had our spring. Now like it. So it wasn't too long ago that the 11th congressional district was represented by Rodney Frelinghuysen, a Republican who served 12 terms. Then Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill kind of shook things up, but she was a very middle of the road Democrat, right? Who had the military background. She had a lot that Republicans would say, I could get behind a woman like this. She's a great person to vote for. And she won. She won strongly, and she won 3 terms. Now you have somebody who is quite different in the political spectrum. Somebody who is quite the politically savvy individual. She was former national political director for Senator Bernie Sanders. She knows her stuff clearly. But yet a Mejia 20 years ago would have never been elected, you would say, in a congressional district 11. What does this say for the district and the state?
Well, I think that district, every district undergoes demographic changes. People move. One of the hallmarks of American society is that we are a very mobile society. And in that district, you see people moving out from the traditional urban core into those suburban areas, which explains why Mikey Sherrill was able to take that seat when it had largely been held by Republicans for generations before. And now we see the transition to Anna Lilia as the congresswoman from that district. And I think it is a trend that Democratic leaders need to take into account. The generation that I belong to, the generation that Mikey Sherrill belongs to, is different than the generation that's coming up. My daughters, who are in their late 20s and early 30s, and they embrace much more of what Anna Lilia stands for than they do of what Mikey stood for in that district. And I think, as I said, Democratic leaders need to take that into account in thinking about the future of the party.
Yeah. Do you think that many may have kind of held back on the beliefs and thought we have to be a little more middle of the road, but yet you have somebody who put it all out, said, "Look, this is what I stand for. Take me or leave me." And clearly, I mean, 60% said, "Yeah, we're taking you." So I mean, this wasn't a win. This was a trouncing.
Well, it was a trouncing, but also let's not lose sight of the fact that Anna Lilia benefited from a multi-candidate field. Had it been a head-on head, it might have been a different outcome. But what it does show is that there is strength behind the ideas that Anna Lilia talking about, that Senator Sanders has been talking about, which is one of the reasons why back in the day when Bernie Sanders was running for president the first time, I was a New Jersey state chair because I thought that for many Democrats, the people who aren't necessarily rank and file committee men and women, but people who identify themselves as Democrats, they don't want their party to be Republican light. They want their party to be Democratic, traditional Democratic values. And I think that's more in the direction that Anna Lilia is heading in than other people that would perhaps want to paint a more cautious, a more conservative view of how the Democratic Party should behave.
And John, what do you think Anna Lilia's election means to the regional districts around her? We have the midterms coming up. Do you think that this will, does she sort of shattered the ceiling of people who thought, let me just couch it a little bit. Now people may feel a little bit more free to be quite honest and say, hey, this is what I stand for. Just be honest and vote for these issues.
Well, I think there's a combination of factors that came to play in this election and may come into play in future primary elections in congressional districts. One is the ascendancy of the more progressive wing of the Democratic Party. But two, in New Jersey, the elimination or the making less important the so-called party line, where more people can participate and there are more candidates in a field that gives a candidate like Anna Lilia a real opportunity to get elected in a Democratic primary.
The one thing, though, that, and I'm sure this may concern you, the one thing that really concerned me when looking at the numbers of the people who actually showed up to vote, and I understand this was a special election, I get it. But normally, if you look around the country when there are special congressional elections, usually 10 to 25% of those eligible to vote will come out and vote.
Yeah.
Only 5% of those eligible in Congressional District 11 showed up. 5%. And considering that we have early voting and mail-in ballots and all of this, why is the turnout that low? And I think that's something that both Republicans and Democrats should be very concerned about.
Well, I think there is a great deal of cynicism, skepticism by a lot of voters. Look, I spent 22 years in elected office, 30 years running for office. And so in that time, I had an opportunity to engage with voters, not only in my town, in my legislative district, but when I ran for governor across the state, there is a very deep level of skepticism by voters. You hear a lot of people wonder whether their vote really matters, wonders whether they can make a difference. I think it's incumbent on everybody who holds elected office, regardless of political affiliation, to resoundingly kind of disabuse their constituents, the voters they meet, about that thinking that it is important for everybody to participate, but people tend to not because they feel that maybe it just doesn't matter. They've got so many other things to do. So we have to change that mindset.
Yeah, the more we have elected officials say it's rigged, it doesn't work for either side. It ruins it. It actually just takes away the credibility of all elections. And I'm with you 100% on that. It's always great to have you on. Former New Jersey State Assemblyman, Attorney John Wisniewski. Please come back again soon. We have a lot of politics to talk about with the midterms. We appreciate you.
And New Jersey is the gift that keeps on giving in politics.
It really is. I've never had a better time doing news than since I moved here. So it's the best. Thank you, John. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You bet. He's great. It is coming up on 8:13. Mostly sunny today. A few afternoon clouds, highs mid-50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with a full Garden State forecast. And then we will take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. It is 8:15. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. You look outside, you think, wow, it's sunny, it's beautiful. Maybe a couple of afternoon clouds, highs mid-50s. But I invite Mr. Meteorologist himself, Mike Favetta, to the screen. And I say, what on God's green earth is going on and why is it so cold?
Well, we're running about 20 degrees below average after being 20 degrees above average last week, breaking some temperature records. So I guess it all balances out, Ken, even into this afternoon. Lots of clear sky expected across New Jersey, but a ton of cold weather today that'll keep our highs in the 50s, parked in the 50s, not getting any warmer than that, which is a little bit cooler than average, especially with that breeze that's been blowing throughout the overnight. The clear sky, however, will lend to a beautiful afternoon like yesterday, loads of sun, but it's that clear, chilly air that sticks around even into this afternoon. So with highs today, again, struggling to leave the 40s at the coast with a little bit of a breeze off of the water. We see some clouds roll in this evening, some rain into the overnight, and that rain lasts through most of the morning tomorrow, leaving us with clouds tomorrow afternoon. So same temperature tomorrow, but clouds and showers. And then for Thursday, we clear things out very nicely and warm it up with a lovely southwesterly breeze. Highs back in the 70s. We'll take that, especially Thursday looking to be the best day of the week. And then by Friday, some clouds return with some showers by the afternoon, and that rain sets up for Saturday. 9 a.m. Saturday, covered in rain north to south with a chilly easterly breeze. So yeah, the weekend starting off a bit gray and damp, but gradually seeing those clouds clear out by Sunday afternoon and bringing back some clear sky throughout the day with drier conditions for the second half of the weekend. It doesn't really warm up though, it still stays cool, but I think by Monday and Tuesday, as the weather turns a little bit warmer, we stay a little bit drier into the beginning of the week before some more rain comes at us by the end of next week. So it's still a wet pattern ahead, specifically with this weekend, starting off wet and then transitioning dry with highs staying in the 50s, Ken.
All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. It is 17 minutes past the hour, 39 degrees northern New Jersey, 35 Trenton. It's 34 degrees in Cape May, that ocean temperature keeping things cool, and 36 inland a bit in Vineland. We have a lot of traffic issues. Let's go to I-78 right now if we can. So we have a problem there with a disabled vehicle at the local lanes westbound east of exit 51, which is Burnett Avenue in Union Township. The right lane of 3 lanes closed, just causing a little slowdown. You see the right lane closure there if you look at the upper right there by that box truck. We also have a crash now over at the Garden State Parkway, and this is northbound, just north of exit 157, which is Route 46, Elmwood Park. The left lane is blocked. It's causing about a 2-mile delay, so we'll take a look at the as we shift over. It's hard to tell. We had a wider shot a minute ago. It's just before where those cars at the top of the screen meet up. That it's all was beginning. But anyway, I'm sure we'll have another camera shot where it builds up a little bit. A little further south, 91BA on the Garden State Parkway. There's a crash just south of that exit, actually. Chambers Bridge Road in Brick Township with the left lane blocked. The Hudson River crossings, we go over to the 495 cam at Columbia Avenue, Pam, if we could. And this is a bit of a problem because we had a disabled bus that was just cleared from the right tube as you make your way around the helix into the Lincoln Tunnel. That's going to cost you about 40 minutes in. The bus has been cleared, but this is a residual problem. Over at the Holland Tunnel, it's only 25 to 30. GWB upper and lower levels. We look at the upper level on the right, lower on the left. We have 40 to 45 minutes in, and that is due to a truck broken down there by the shoulder, causing some residual delays for folks. Actually, rubbernecking delays, I should say, as people pass. It is 19 minutes past the hour, and usually people who look for a luxury home have a choice between a mansion that might be located off the beaten trail and maybe a bit overwhelming to live in and manage, or a really cool condo that's in a perfect location, but it may not offer enough space. Well, now wait a second. Looks like there's the perfect place that is not a compromise. How about having a luxury townhome community? Now, wait a second. I know a lot of people say, I don't want to live in a townhome. We're not talking the average townhome. We're talking a townhome that is 5,000 square feet, enormous, in a super prime location, Paramus, Bergen County, close enough to highways and mass transit, just minutes from the city. These are 3-bedroom, 3-bath homes. They're large enough for a family with all the high-end details, 10-foot ceilings, 3 stories high, even some with finished basements. All that in top-rated schools, too. Oh, and they are brand spanking new. They're called Victoria's Estates in Paramus. It's a new townhome complex there. It's a brand new community. Team leader and broker Taylor Lusick of the Taylor Lusick Group joins us now to talk about it. Good morning to you, Taylor.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great, but you look at real estate in New Jersey, and there's always a compromise because land is a premium. There's not a lot of free land left, and there's so many people looking for properties. And you have a lot of high-end buyers in New Jersey that you don't have in a lot of other parts of the country. Bergen County has magnificent properties, and now you have Victoria's Estates. So what makes them so different?
I mean, I think townhouse living is nothing new in Bergen County specifically. I think what makes this very different from the average is kind of how you just said it. It's the size, right? We have a lot of premium clientele that are in very large estates through Franklin Lake, Saddle River, Alpine, Cresskill, and they're not looking to compromise on space, right? They want to stay hyper local, but they want a high end product, but they don't want to go from 7,000, 8,000 square feet down to 3,000 square feet. That's just a huge lifestyle change. So we're seeing a very, very early, let's say, trajectory of people that are coming out of these markets. And we're doing really well. We're 50%, pre-sold. We just actually finished a fully staged unit last week, so we're doing really well to kind of start the sales journey.
And that is, there are a lot of benefits to townhomes. I live in a townhome now, but I used to live in 6,000 square feet in North Caldwell for 13 years. And downsizing to 2,200 square feet is a big deal. In this case, though, you don't have to compromise, but you get the convenience of living in a townhome where you don't have any maintenance to worry about, right?
That's correct. I think that a lot of our clientele, let's say, that are in the later stages, maybe the kids are out of school at this point, or like they've sold their, let's say, bigger family house. They don't want to worry about the lawn. They don't want to worry about snow removal. They want to just live life, right? A lot of them have secondary residences, whether in South Florida or different parts of the country. And they just want to be able to come home, be within a community they feel safe. They can make new friends. And like you said, they can lock the door and not feel like they have to worry about all the general maintenance that's related to single family home ownership.
I heard that Florida reference. I saw you online. I know that you're a Miami guy. I'm headed there in a couple of hours, actually. I have my other home there. So I will be there in a few hours, but it is, but
Enjoy
you're
it.
right. It's sort of, yeah, thank you. It's sort of the sixth borough of New York, New Jersey. And my next door neighbor at my condo there is from Long Island, and the neighbor directly under me is from New Jersey. So it's like, the whole block. It's everybody there. So who are you seeing most interested in this community? Is it first-time buyers, families, downsizers? Who are the biggest buyers?
The biggest buyers, I would say, is kind of what we just talked about a little bit, but it really is the downsizer. But we are also getting, just premium new construction in Bergen County, as you know, is becoming increasingly expensive. So a lot of clientele are getting priced out. So since these homes are within comparable square footage to what a single family home would offer, we are getting a lot of those like late 30s, early 40 buyers as well. But I would say a large percentile of our buyer pool has been, maybe that 50s range to early 60s range that, sold that bigger house and they want something comparable in size.
Yeah, you just defined me right there. That's exactly what we did here. I'm kind of surprised though, because like in my development where I am, I'm seeing young singles living in townhomes here, which I was surprised at because years ago it was always me, the 50 something, 60 something. But are you seeing that as well? Are you seeing the people who just don't want to maintain a house but want the feel of the big living that you'd get in a beautiful luxury townhome like there?
I would say it's a mix. I mean, I've had the privilege of, in Bergen County at least, probably being the number one broker in relation to new construction townhouse sales. So we've brokered everything from 2,800 square feet now up to 5,000 square feet of, let's say, like townhouse living, that very like lateral living. I would say like the lower price tags, like maybe that 1.3 to 1.4 range, you're going to get that first time home buyer, exactly like you said. But I think once you get closer to that $2 million range, it's generally more of a mature buyer, depending on the financial situation, of course. But I would say it's a mix, but yeah, we definitely have had that like incredibly affluent clientele that, like you said, they want that premium space. They want that single family, let's say, layout, but they're just not ready to spend, $2.5 million or $3 million on something. And this townhouse basically offers the exact same thing at, let's say, a slight discount. So we're getting that clientele as well.
And Paramus is that incredibly ideal location. You got great schools, the proximity to New York City. You have the GWB minutes away, and you're in one of the most exclusive county, Bergen County, in all of the state of New Jersey. I'm sure I didn't hit a lot of the aspects. Talk about that, plus the proximity to mass transit and highways and everything else.
Yeah, I'm a little biased. My office is in Paramus, so I would like to think Paramus is probably one of the best places to live. But you nailed it, right in the center, the heart of Bergen County. It's probably one of the most commutable places to live in Bergen County. You're surrounded by two major highways, Route 17 and Route 4. Where this townhouse specifically is located, you're minutes from the Ridgewood train station. And if you know about the Ridgewood train station, it's an incredibly easy commute to New York City. So that's amazing. You have all the shops and the restaurants down in Ridgewood. Overall, you probably couldn't have placed this townhouse site in a better location for where we are. So we're seeing a lot of that like demand that, you're getting people from all across the county, because generally some of the townhouse sites, whether you're like very northern Bergen County or very western Bergen County or very eastern Bergen County, you're a little isolated. Not that it's a bad place to live, but you kind of have to stay hyper local. Where this is, you kind of could spread your wings and be wherever you want to be, and that's probably the really nice thing about Paramus. And then secondarily, where you're getting that downsizer clientele, a big thing is always property taxes, right? Like a lot of people are on, I want to say fixed incomes, but they're not looking to pay the high premium taxes because their children are out of school. Paramus offers one of the lowest tax rates in the entire state of New Jersey, but in Bergen County specifically, don't quote me to the number, but it's like 1.59%, where the rest of us are like 2.5% to 3%. So that's also a major driver for us too, is that they're probably saving $8,000 to $10,000 a year picking this townhouse site versus others.
Now compare the taxes in Paramus to Tenafly or Cresskill, and you'll see the difference. Having looked at houses in those areas, I saw. I mean, the house that I ended up buying in North Caldwell was, I think, $20,000 a year in taxes versus about $45,000 up in like the T-Fly area and whatnot. It was choking to think about.
Spot on.
So, what should potential buyers know about timing? Are these homes? You said they're available right now. Is there a wait list?
Yeah, not specifically a wait list. We had a wait list going for, we were a couple months before getting power, but now we're ready. I mean, people can move in within 30 days. We have about 20 units left there. It was a 42 unit site, but yeah, we have a fully staged model unit. You could visit us on the weekends, reach out to us, inquire on the website. But yeah, we're ready. We're ready to go.
Well, give everybody your website right there, please, Taylor.
It's victoriaestates.com is the website, but you could also visit taylorlusicgroup.com as well.
And by the way, you're being humble when you say you're probably one of the largest. I looked it up. The man is responsible, $1 billion in real estate sales. You don't do that if you don't know what you're doing. Clearly, you know your stuff. Victoria's Estates in Paramus, by the way, team leader and broker, Taylor Lusick of the Taylor Lusick Group. Please come back again. I mean, real estate is one of those things that people love to talk about. I do, certainly.
Sure.
So we'd love to have you on again, Taylor. Please come back.
Absolutely. An honor and a lot of fun. Thank you. Thank you for having us today.
Likewise. You bet, my friend. It is now 39 degrees, chilly at 8:28. We could just say it's chilly. When we come back, a powerful collaboration taking aim at improving maternal health in one of our most underserved cities. We're going to talk about it. The phone lines are open, 888-658-0234. And meteorologist Mike Favetta says, yeah, cold. It's going to be cold, 50s, but don't worry, a warm-up is on the way. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. We're back in 2 minutes. Morning, it's Tuesday, April 21st, 2026, 38 degrees at 8:30. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Mostly sunny today, a few afternoon clouds. Highs, low to mid 50s. Yeah, I don't know. Is that normal? Meteorologist Mike Favetta will call him in. Call him in. Call him to the table. Low to mid 50s. Are we, but this is, I mean, what upper 50s would be about normal for now, right?
Upper 50s, yes, for the end of April is considered average. However, with so much heat last week, everybody thought, winter's behind us. We're breaking temperature records. It's in the 90s. This is you all, yeah, I know. Yeah, I was really trying, tried this close to put the plants in the ground and thought, they always say first week of May, and last night was a perfect reason why. So yes, RIP to the basil plants, Ken. We've got some very warm weather on the way that arrives by Thursday, but as far as today, even though the sky is clear, it's going to stay chilly, and with temperatures even making it to the mid 50s throughout this afternoon along the shore. Inland, not even seeing that much of a warm up, low 50s for you. Plan on a plentiful amount of pollen to return today, back up to the moderate level, and then I think knocked back down again with the rain that comes in later on tonight and tomorrow. So average high, we should actually make it into the 60s this time of year. So a little bit below average going into the end of April rather. But with the sunrise nice and early now, approaching 6 a.m., sunset approaching 8 p.m. Yeah, it lets you know that summer right around the corner, right? We're getting there slowly but surely, even though we had a little bit of a minor setback last night. As far as the rain returning, we have a big chance of rain for tomorrow and then again on Saturday. But notice, rain chances go down by Sunday and Monday. So I think the weekend rain is kind of just limited to Saturday and then maybe spilling over into early Sunday morning. But beyond that, we should stay nice and dry for the second half of the weekend. Rain totals should be up to about a half an inch with our next round that comes in later on tonight into tomorrow and then lasts throughout the tomorrow morning. But I think Friday brings another round of rain, and the more significant rain really happens throughout Friday night into Saturday. With the clear sky that's around for the rest of today, it looks beautiful this afternoon, but then this evening, clouds return. Rain takes over. Wet weather lasts through most of tomorrow morning. And then with the clearing that happens on tomorrow night, we look beautiful by Thursday. A nice, dry, sunny, warmer day with those temperatures in the 70s. Rain comes back briefly on Friday, and then a whole lot of wet weather on Saturday. And that's the kind of the damp start that we have on tap to start off the weekend. The 7-day forecast has plenty of clear sky for today. Rain tomorrow. Nice and warm on Thursday, 72, and then cooling back down on Friday with some showers and the rain that takes over on Saturday. Sunday clears out, I think, by the afternoon, and then Monday looks a little bit brighter with those highs in the 60s. Slightly cooler at the coast, but pretty much same weather for you. A damp day on Saturday, but clearing by Sunday, Ken.
Indeed, indeed. All right, as long as we get those temps up, Mike. My basil is very upset. I had a pot of marinara sauce in my brain that will just
Ready to
not come
go.
to pass now. Yeah, it's
No.
gone. It's gone. All right. And you know what? I'm going to share. I've gotten more people who said, you talk about this marinara sauce. You talk about it all the time. It is so easy. The people I know who make jarred sauces, who make heat jarred sauces, I say it's just as easy to open up a good can of tomatoes with a little olive oil and garlic, and you have your own sauce, a little basil, and it's really not that hard.
Well, it's funny
Anyway.
when you said jarred sauce. I'm like, well, yeah, you open the ball jar that you made yourself 6 months ago, right? But no, I forgot. You can actually buy it in the store.
I'll tell you, the only one that comes, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, the only one that I think comes close to homemade tasting, but look at that, why are we digressing, is Muti. Have you tried Muti's jarred marinara sauce?
I do like Muti. I like their ketchup. Muti's ketchup, which there must have been some kind of short supply because it's impossible to find now, even online. So we had to, kind of hoard them like toilet paper during COVID to get ready for the summer grilling season. I know, it's sad. This is what we do. We hoard ketchup, but their ketchup is great. I prefer Pomi. I'm a Pomi guy.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting. I like
Muti
their,
has a little bit of a texture that I'm not a fan of, but Pomi, all about Pomi.
Pomi has great tomato paste, I think, but I don't know about the other stuff. But anyway, see that? To each his own. See that? All right, my friend, we will stop. We'll talk more on food talk, which comes up after the morning show. We'll do that. In the meantime, sir, we appreciate you as always. It is now 37 degrees, northern New Jersey. It is 36 degrees in Trenton, 35 degrees at Cape May, 37 in Vineland. And in terms of accidents, we have a lot of them. Let's go over to 280 if we can. We have a crash on 280 westbound, west of exit 7, Pleasant Valley Way in West Orange. Left lane is closed, and look at the delay that you have on the highway as a result. Over to the Garden State Parkway, we have a couple of issues to tell you about. There's a crash on the GSP northbound, north of exit 157, Route 46, Elmwood Park. All lanes are open. That's starting to get a little better right now, but earlier it was really messy. You have a little residual delay. Crash on the GSP northbound, south of exit 91BA, Route 549, Chambers Bridge Road in Brick with the left lane blocked. And then we go over to the 495 approach to the Lincoln Tunnel. This is the Helix. As you make your way to the Lincoln, that's going to cost you about 40 minutes in. This is all due to an earlier incident where we had a stalled bus in the middle of the right tube, causing those delays. The bus has been moved, but the damage is done. Also, that's going to cost you 40 minutes. 35 minutes in at the Holland Tunnel. GWB upper and lower levels, 8095 approach is 45 minutes solid. You'll see this on your screen. You have that broken down tractor trailer or truck. It's really a delivery truck. It's in the right shoulder for the lower level approach, but that's causing delays in both the upper and lower level approaches. Going to cost you 45 minutes in. 837, there is a collaboration intended on improving maternal health in New Jersey. The Quest Diagnostics Foundation is partnering with St. Joseph's Health Coalition of Passaic County, and Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine to support families in Paterson through the Quest for Community Wellness Initiative to expand access to services for more than 300 mothers as infant mortality rates are on the rise. Alicia E. Meadows is the executive director of Quest Diagnostics Foundation programs. We say good morning, Alicia.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you for having me.
Nice to have you on. Tell us what inspired the collaboration.
Gosh, that's a great question. The quest for community wellness in Paterson really was driven first by data and second by our location. We are, as you know, headquartered in Secaucus and with a major lab in Clifton. And so the residents of Paterson are high users of our services and in great need. That community has been home to a number of health disparities and opportunities to improve health outcomes. And so we saw an opportunity to partner with St. Joseph's Hospital, with HCPC, and with HMH to really lean in and support those residents.
And that was the next question. It was why Paterson? So is it, I mean, you have other cities in the state also that certainly are in need. You have Newark and Camden, et cetera, but Paterson specifically rather had a high infant mortality rate, correct?
Correct. And the work in Paterson, and maybe this is your next question too, is really focused on reassessing and building a better maternal health care workforce. We do that through provision of doulas and community health workers and working with the medical students who then engage families directly. And so being able to provide that type of resource and combine that with access to no-cost testing has really been helpful to those moms and really already are seeing improved outcomes.
So certainly a person's living situation is important for anybody, but especially for a mom or a mom to be, right? Or a mom who's just given birth because of all the additional nutrition that's needed. So what you found in Paterson? Were you finding that you had mothers who simply couldn't afford better circumstances, or mothers who simply did not understand, say, certain nutritional needs that they would have?
So, I mean, in Paterson and in communities across the country, really, access to healthcare, particularly maternal health access, is really critical. But underneath that, as you've described, there's some of those social risks, right? So food insecurity, access to transportation to get you to your appointments. And in Paterson, that's no different. We're seeing those same trends and opportunities to support moms. I think that as a mom myself and as somebody who experienced a high risk pregnancy, having support, that holistic support that provides emotional, physical, spiritual engagement for the mom is really, really important. And the doulas that we support in Paterson provide that access. I think too, like when you consider what are your priorities, right? As a mom, as a parent, really caring for those around you becomes number one. And so what we find is moms really neglect their own health and well-being in that process. And being healthy when you enter pregnancy is one of the best ways to ensure that you have a healthy outcome.
And Alicia, help us out. I know the term doula. I have several friends women who have given birth using doulas. They went through the process. But a doula versus a midwife versus a coach, there is a terminology and a certain
Yeah.
level of training that they get. So tell us a doula's training.
Yeah, so I think the first part of the doula training is really focused on do you have that lived experience yourself? And so to be a doula means that you understand what it is to have a pregnancy, to have those challenges, and to work through them. This is different than, for example, a community health worker who's more focused on providing for the holistic resources and needs. The doula is focused on the mom first. And when you get into the prenatal and postpartum space, a lot of attention, and rightly so, is focused on that newborn and their health. And oftentimes the mom is left to try to kind of figure things out on her own. The doula doesn't just stop their work once the baby is born. They're there in that postpartum period. They're there to support mom and to make sure she's getting that care as well. And again, a midwife, OB-GYN, those folks are obviously very important to the care team and very important to mom's health too. But their focus is on the physical health and well-being, whereas the doula takes all of those components into consideration.
I love it. And when you're going through all that a woman goes through with pregnancy and the pain and the backaches and the blood pressure and the on and on and on, to have somebody who's been there or who can talk you through it is just priceless, I would imagine. And medical students are part of the program. How does that help?
Yes, yes. So I think we're looking at so 300 moms in Patterson have benefited from the doula workforce and the support there. But then in addition to that, we have students who are really leaning into how they should be providing care. And so what that does is take us upstream, right? So our collaborative looks at the direct care service from the doula. It looks at the community resiliency and the resources provided by Health Coalition of Passaic County. But these students will change the way care is delivered in Patterson because they're working directly with families, directly with moms and their children, whether they're expecting or already here, and really learning how to deliver that culturally competent care that is different for residents who struggle with some of those other risks that we talked about earlier on.
And Alicia, what's a website for more information about this?
You can check us out at questdiagnostics.com and just search for our foundation. We have lots of information about all of our grantees in action there, and then of course on our social media handles.
That reminds me, I need to go get a blood test right now. So I'll probably be headed to my local Quest Diagnostics in about an hour. I've been fasting, no coffee today. I'm dying. Alicia
Oh no, we'd
Meadows,
love to see you. Thank you.
I go to Quest all the time. They know me at my local Quest. So Alicia E. Meadows,
Love it.
Executive Director of Quest Diagnostics Foundation Programs. We appreciate you and we appreciate this program. It's fantastic. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much.
You bet. It is now a chilly 35 degrees, 8:43. When we come back, property taxes remaining one of the biggest financial burdens for many New Jersey residents, especially older adults trying to stay in their homes. We'll talk with our friends from AARP New Jersey about that and more. We're back in 2. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings, 846. Ken Rosato here, taking calls at 888-658-0234. We bring in our friend meteorologist Mike Favetta to tell us when this chilly weather is going to end.
Well, we get another round later on today because it's only in the 50s today, Ken. Tomorrow, rain with 50s, but there is some milder weather on the way by Thursday. We're back in the 70s. We need the rain, however, that comes on in later on tonight into tomorrow because look at places like in Monmouth County, Long Branch, a 1 to 2 inch rainfall deficit just in the last 30 days. And we didn't really enter the spring very wet. It was on the drier side. So that's why most of New Jersey is back to being moderately dry with that tan shade, just this stripe here across northern New Jersey, staying dry. Well, throughout this afternoon, we remain clear with blue skies, but again, temperatures running about 10 degrees below average. And with that cooler feel lasting into this afternoon, we get more rain through the end of the month into the first week of May. This is also going to be cooler than average through the first week of May. So plan on a cooler feel, even though we get a day here or there that's a little milder, which will be the case on Thursday with a high of 72. And even Friday starts off very mild. It's Saturday and Sunday that bring back the chilly, the wet weather, the cool breezes. Monday and Tuesday start off next week a little drier, but also still running slightly cooler than average. So the next few days featuring quite a bit of wet weather, and we get more rain into the middle of next week. So keep the umbrellas close by, Ken, because it looks to be pretty wet going forward into even the start of hurricane season. See, the tap that you showed me about 2 hours ago, it's still tapping along. It keeps tapping. I don't know. Now we got this Jersey City skyline.
Tap. Love it. I'm headed on a plane for the Southern Command in just a couple of hours. So I'll let you deal with the rain. Although I don't know what South Florida weather has been or is like. I'll have to check that out, or maybe you could let me know what I'm flying into. Not to mention I'm flying on Spirit, so who knows what's going to happen. Let's just hope it's still a company by the time I land. I hope. I'm praying for them. Anyway. All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. It is 40 degrees right now in northern New Jersey, 35 in Trenton. All right, so we started talking about it a second ago, and property taxes certainly remain one of the biggest financial burdens for a lot of people who live in New Jersey, especially if you're older and you have to stay in your homes and you're on a fixed income. Programs like Stay NJ, along with Anchor and the Senior Freeze, are designed to ease that pressure. But understanding how they work and who benefits can be very confusing. AARP has been advocating for stronger, more accessible relief and for policies that truly meet the needs of residents. And joining us now to break it all down, Katie Squires, Associate State Director of Advocacy at AARP, and Robert Rashkes, who is an AARP advocacy volunteer who has experienced this issue firsthand. Thank you both for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
You bet. Katie, what property tax relief programs are currently available in New Jersey, and how do they work together for residents?
Well, you listed them, Ken. There's the Senior Freeze, there's Stay New Jersey, and there's Anchor. And what a great recent change that happened was making it a consolidated application so that people just have to fill out one application. It's the blue book that folks get in the mail, and the rest of the information is figured out for them.
Yeah, and talk about the impact that programs like Stay NJ have and what kind of relief homeowners can realistically expect. Because for a lot of folks on fixed income, even if it's a few $1,000s, it could make or break whether they can stay in New Jersey in retirement.
Absolutely. And we are hearing that in the surveys we've run. We're hearing that from people as young as pre-retirement, 50 to 64, that they're making decisions whether they're going to be able to stay in the state or not based on property taxes. About 50% of the people we surveyed said they seriously consider leaving New Jersey. And of those people, 80% said property taxes were a driving factor. So the thousands of dollars do add up. If you're on a fixed income, $1,000 coming your way makes a huge difference, especially with property tax bills averaging north of $10,000. And as Robert will talk about, in other communities, it's well above that 10,000 figure.
And you're looking at states like Florida right now that have no state income tax, and they're talking about abolishing their property tax. So if you're on a fixed income, how does New Jersey compete against something like that? And Robert, on a personal level, what does property tax relief mean to you and your ability to stay in your home right here in the beautiful Garden State?
Well, it's very important because last year we had a property tax revaluation in West Orange, and the new average property tax bill is $16,000 per person. My taxes went up $3,000, and we had to pay the $3,000 increase in the last 2 quarters of the year. So all of a sudden, I have it's like sticker shock, and luckily at that point, I start getting checks from my uh, from the blue booklet I filed last year, and that made the difference from depleting my checking account.
Oh, I mean, and it's not like you're on a fixed income at this point. You're retired, you budget, and it's like they think that you're supposed to just get this money from the sky. You recently wrote an op-ed about Stay NJ, Robert. What
Yes.
message were you hoping you could send to lawmakers and the public about this?
Well, well, the importance of keeping the promise. We're counting on the money that we wanted. We're looking to make sure that it's a promise, and we're relying on it because people are worried. People are scared. We at the township council meeting the other night, we heard a report of a senior in West Orange whose taxes went up $6,000 with the revaluation, and that person is working 3 jobs and is hanging on by a thread just to stay in West Orange. So it's very concerning. Everybody's asking, "Where's the blue books?" And the West Orange Senior Services Department. They hold seminars bringing in the state treasury people, and it's very well attended. Everybody shows up because they need that property tax relief to stay here.
And all you want to do is enjoy your retirement. You shouldn't have to be stressing like this. Katie, talk about some of the biggest challenges that residents are facing when they try to access these programs.
Well, I think there's still a lack of awareness. We have been having some regular telephone town halls with the Treasury, and when we survey the callers, many of them still haven't heard of at least one of the three programs. So one of the benefits of all the programs being on one application is it's a natural way for people to hear about it. But we need to make sure that these programs continue. So every year, it's something that we at AARP are fighting for to make sure that relief is there for them.
And thank God for AARP for that. I full disclosure, I've been a member of AARP for 13 years. I love it and all that it offers. Just saying it, putting it out there. It's one of the best bargains out there for joining a group that really helps a lot. And Katie, as lawmakers work through the state budget, what should they be prioritizing when it comes to property tax relief?
We want to make sure that the promise for Stay New Jersey is maintained. We want to make sure that relief, especially the full $6,500 benefit, is there and that the program is maintained. People are counting on this money. The state budget timeline is very different than our household timeline. We typically don't budget middle of the year to middle of the year. We typically budget January to December. And so as folks are making their budgets for the year and they're trying to plan things out and they see these checks come in from Stay New Jersey and see what they're able to do, what they're able to stop putting off, for instance, what they're able to, medicines that they're able to purchase, food, higher groceries that they have to pay for, utilities, you name it. This is such a huge relief for folks. And so they want to be able to be sure that they can count on it.
All right. And Robert, from your perspective, and you kind of touched on it a little bit already, what are residents most concerned about right now when it comes to rising property taxes?
How are we going to pay for it? And can we stay in our homes and our communities that we love? And West Orange is an age-friendly community, and I want to be able to stay here and age in New Jersey. And it's difficult, and everybody has to figure out how we're going to do it. And these programs are vital.
Amen to that. I mean, here you've helped build New Jersey. You made New Jersey the great place it is for the next generation. And then basically it's like, okay, now you could leave. No, you want to enjoy your retirement. Robert, do you know of a website where people can learn more about eligibility and apply for the programs?
Well, I look forward to getting my form in the mail every year. And it says for more information, call 1-888-238-1233 to get your application for the property tax relief program.
There you go. And then Katie, is there also a website, Katie?
Yes, we have aarp.org/NJ resources that folks can head over there and find out more information about property tax relief and other help that's available across the state.
And I'm glad Robert also gave the 800 number because a lot of especially older people, my mother would look at me and say, WW what? So the 800 number is very important also as an option. So I appreciate you both very much. Katie Squires, Associate State Director of Advocacy at AARP, and AARP Advocacy Volunteer Robert Rashkis. thank you both for coming on this morning. Let's hope that this is dealt with so that our seniors can enjoy their retirement here in the beautiful Garden State. We appreciate you both.
Yeah, thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Ken.
You bet. Good folks at AARP, thank you very much for that. And we check traffic as we wrap our show. Let's go to 287 right now. We have an overturned tractor trailer on 287 northbound at exit 66, which is Route 17 Mahwah. The ramp lane closed. You can see it there at the top of the screen, right there on its side, causing some delays of vehicles trying to get up to it. Don't know about injuries, but looks like just folks on the actual highway are moving pretty well. We go over to 287. We go over to 280. We have a crash on 280 westbound, west of exit 7. Let's do that again, Ken. West of exit 7, Pleasant Valley Way in West Orange, the right shoulder is closed. I'll get the mouth to work right. And then our Hudson River crossings, Lincoln Tunnel right now reporting about 35 minutes in with some delays on 139. And this is the approach to the Lincoln right here on 495. It's going to cost you about 40 minutes in. Again, 35 at the Holland. GWB upper and lower levels, heavy but moving. 40 minutes in, upper level on the right, lower level on the left. You can see a tractor trailer or a box truck stopped right there. That's the lower level right next to it. Just a little bit of a delay, but 40 minutes in. It is coming up on 8:58 right now. We thank you for watching on New Jersey Mornings. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says mostly sunny today. Few afternoon clouds, highs only in the mid-50s. And that's your show for Tuesday, April 21st. I'm Ken Rosato. Remember, stream us at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV News on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, X, Substack, Rumble, Twitch, and Local Now. See you again tomorrow, 7 a.m. Have a good day.